We're here. We're here.
We are. We're here. But where is here?
Say, kids, what time is it?
The future is coming on, it's coming on, it's coming on.
And we're coming on to you today from Santa Fe, New Mexico, the second week in a row here.
That's right. We're enjoying our extended visit with Brother Norman and his wife, Amy.
And it's freezing here. It's below 29.
And it's really dry. We both are fighting off chapped lips like crazy.
Undeterred, I am still dressing in shorts. At least till I go outside.
It's warm inside the house.
That's true. It's amazingly warm inside. And it's kind of interesting because those in colder climates often have warmer houses than those of us who live in Northern California.
Uh-huh.
Pretty funny.
Right.
In Canada, when I'm in Canada, it's always like 80 degrees inside. You know?
Well, the colder
crazy.
it is outside, the more you've got your warmth wired, right?
Yeah.
No
yeah.
accidents.
Yeah. Hey, and Bobby's on the line. Bobby, we got you right at the beginning of the show today. Hey, welcome.
Yeah, great. So I can't believe that Santa Fe is that cold. Jeez.
Well, it's a high plane here. It's like
desert.
7,000 feet up.
The temperatures hot and cold are different in the desert because there's much less humidity. So it's a dry cold. I find it pretty comfortable, actually. I'm not suffering a
As long
bit.
as the sun is shining. So far, we haven't had to deal with snow on the roads, which not having snow tires, I'm not sure how well I'll fare with that. But, well, our plans are we're going to head south for a few days and visit some friends down in southern New Mexico, where it's probably warmer down near Mexico. And then we'll be heading back up before we head home to the Bay Area for the holidays.
Nice.
But the reason we're here is to be a fan from my brother.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, Billy. Billy Sunshine says it's 63 in Santa Cruz.
Oh, poor Billy.
Oh, man.
Sorry for you, buddy.
Lying in your backyard. Oh, man. I'm looking forward to that. Meanwhile, I go outside to get stimulated so I have more energy when I do my podcast.
Sure. Hey, speaking of stimulated, Billy Sunshine met our friend Kathy Close.
Kathy Close.
Yeah, I got a little note from Kathy Close through Billy Sunshine. So the tribe is alive.
I think we had
connecting in unusual ways.
Kathy's another media person, part of the tribe. We worked with her for New Earth News.
That's right. Way back in the early days of the internet, we were trying to start a good news channel. That was way before YouTube. That was way before most people had embraced even, I guess, email was kind of getting started in the mid-90s.
Early experiment with Scott Katamas.
Yeah, right.
And we met a lot of cool cast of characters, and Kathy was one of them.
Yeah, she's an awesome producer.
I think we had her on the show.
She's stuck with Gaia and the Wisdom Channel and all that stuff. She's
Right.
got so much amazing mystic content. One of these days, she's going to start a channel of her own.
Yeah, I think we talked to her about her mysterious time.
Yeah,
missing time at the Integratron.
In the Integratron,
In the
right.
desert.
Yes, some strange invention that was Tesla tech, right? Created by
Otis T. Carr's tradition.
his buddy, right? Yeah. Who allegedly, when Tesla died, Otis T. Carr disappeared with some of his designs and theories, something like that.
And the Trump family did too, with the MIT Trump professor.
Not interesting. Yeah, Tesla had some interesting friends, huh?
Well, let's just say interesting people interested in him.
Yes, definitely.
And what he was doing.
Right.
That was Trump's father, right? That was doing the MIT stuff.
I don't think it was his father. No, his father was a real estate guy.
Oh, maybe it was
his grandfather.
Yeah, it was his uncle. I think it was
Uncle.
his uncle.
Uncle Trump.
Another Trump. Okay.
Yeah, his uncle's
Uncle
professor
Trump knew
at
Tesla.
MIT investigating. He was sent in to collect the files of Tesla after he died during World War II.
Yeah, the FBI raided his
hotel room. Yeah, right. And took all the files, and I think Professor Trump was the one to organize it and look at what he had there. Was there anything to the death ray, for example? Military wants to know. Is there anything to the life ray?
Oh, even more important.
I kid you not. He spent 20 years studying health and creating electromagnetic machines to help heal people. And that was mostly during the later parts of his life.
Really?
In the 20s and 30s. Yeah, after all the debacle over the energy wars with Edison.
Yeah, and
was after that.
Westinghouse and
Yeah.
all those
He got
people
interested
did
in
some good.
bioelectricity and how the body worked and how electromagnetics can help the biomagnetics, stuff like that. Still not really well understood to this day, largely because medicine went more the allopathic pharmaceutical-based route. However, more and more people are beginning to explore these things and looking at the implications of electromagnetic and the body. You probably have heard it mostly in the context of cell phones and how cell phones affect your health.
Yeah. Yes, well, there's still a lot to be studied. People just don't know much about it yet.
That's right. And we're here for my brother, and he's doing better. We put him in a less intensive hospital, and he's now on a path of recovery, and we'll be taking him some dinner tonight.
That's right. One of our favorite
happy about
pastimes.
that.
Taking
Oh,
Norm
that's
some food.
Yeah. Yeah. So has it been a nice, warm autumn for you too, Bobby, up there in San Francisco?
It's definitely been clear skies. Right now, I think it's around 58 degrees or 60 degrees. It's a little cooler, but at least there's clear skies even at night, and can't ask for anything better. It's
Cool.
great.
Fantastic. Okay, well, should we get in some of our news? Because we've got a lot of topical
oh boy,
news this week.
ton of
It's
stuff
really-
in the future news right now.
Yeah.
December 10th is a busy day in the future.
Yeah, people are really trying to cram it in here.
End of the year.
Right, right. Let's begin with that, shall we?
Sure, I'm ready.
Angelic mystery.
What do you think?
Good. Good. It's an angelic mystery, but it's not really an angelic topic. However,
But it is about space.
it is about space. It's about a startup, a space startup that doesn't use rockets to get something into space. It spins them. Spins
Oh,
them.
we love SpinLaunch.
Yeah, SpinLaunch. It's-
Definitely the most sci-fi of the real space companies that's
Yeah.
still in business.
Yeah, it spins the living crap out of stuff and then throws it at the end like a centrifugal force, like a slingshot. Not a slingshot, excuse me. What do they call those things that rotate and then slow? A sling,
It is
I
like a
guess?
slingshot. It
Slingshot
is.
is
That's
when
why
you
it's
pull
called.
back on the thing, and this is more you rotate.
Well, you spin your what David used against Goliath. What do
yeah,
you
it's
call
some
that?
kind of
It is a
primitive
slingshot, isn't it?
2,000-year-old weapon of destruction that we.
It's a sling. Yeah.
Oh, just a sling?
Yeah.
A sling is what you put your arm in. So you use the sling and you put a rock in your sling and you hurl it. So that's a slingshot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The original.
the original slingshot.
Right.
Right. Okay. So SpinLaunch actually has taken this to a high-tech level, one step closer to flinging satellites into space with this kind of, I guess it's a kind of a catapult, too. I don't know how you describe it. Anyway, it's circular. It looks like a giant wheel standing up with a smokestack on one end of it.
And when you say giant, how many stories do you think tall it is? It's probably about 12 stories tall. Because it
Something
has
like
to. So it's this big giant hamster wheel that revs the vehicle. It's run with a spring, and they tighten the spring and they spin the thing until it's got so much centrifugal force that it can be hurled off the earth out of the gravity belt. Right.
Well, it spins it up to 10,000 Gs. 10,000 Gs.
Which
and so
means we're not going to be.
no humans are going to.
No astronauts are going to get to
Yeah.
space this way, but cargo maybe.
Maybe humans can take 10 Gs, but for very short periods of time. 10,000 Gs, microchips.
But it saves gas. We think it doesn't take that
Yeah.
much gas to wind up
You
the
go.
spring.
You fire something into space, and yeah, it's cheap. But it will only allow certain types of cargo to get up that way, like microchips. Or small satellites. I guess what they're trying to do is how big of a satellite can you actually fire with SpinLaunch?
Good question.
Or maybe they can fire several components and they can congeal once they're up there. There's that possibility.
Yeah, well, when you think of the future of space, it's a massive industry. And we have actually quite a number of articles today about people who can really visualize what's coming. But we're going to need to send all kinds of materials up there before we can send people.
That's right, and this is all about that as well. SpinLaunch partnered with Portland State University's open source CubeSat program called ORSAT, O-R-E, and they made a few design adjustments to the satellite so it could survive this kind of rotation, like the battery cells, because batteries tended to explode when they were rotated really quickly like that. And so the battery cells acted more like pillars, supporting their own weight along the long axis. And they added a bit of glue behind the cells to strengthen them too. And they had to upgrade the structure of the satellite to a more strong form of aluminum 7075 as opposed to aluminum 6061.
Yeah, because it has to be lightweight and really super strong.
Right. Having more strength, they had to reinforce the larger parts of their circuit boards to minimize the stress on the particularly sensitive components on the board.
Right.
So these core adjustments ensured the satellite's structural compatibility for SpinLaunch.
Right. This makes me think of the piece we saw by Mark Rober recently about all of the problems that you have to solve if you want to go to space. We should put that link up sometime, the Crunch Lab link.
The Crunch Labs, they're putting up their own satellite too. That's an interesting story.
Yeah. And Mark
so that's
Rober,
like here in the Bay Area.
right.
A CubeSat, a citizen scientist project to take a picture of yourself in orbit.
Yeah, and I didn't realize that Mark
Selfie.
Rober was a NASA scientist in the past, and he was very much engineering the kinds of problems you have to solve if you want to go to space.
The idea is that it shows a picture of you on a screen, and another camera takes a picture of you on the screen, and behind you, for real, is the Earth,
That's right.
with your actual home on that. Your picture gets taken at a certain time of the day, and so you see yourself in a selfie with your home part of the planet behind you,
Yeah.
or whatever part you want. That's the initial idea of a selfie from space that Mark Rober's doing.
Yeah.
He's famous for also doing the glitter bombs, which is a way of capturing porch thieves for packages, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And also for the Squirrel Olympics.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Remember the Squirrel Olympics?
In his backyard, he had this jungle gym that in order for the squirrels to get their walnuts or nuts, they'd have to jump through different things and land on catch different wires and
That's right.
walk across
That's the
tight
one.
ropes, and it was
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah,
And the squirrels were smarter than most everyone thought in terms of
yeah.
figuring out.
They would complete just to get their little bit of food at the very end. It was completely not only a maze, but just athletic.
Athletic and challenges. They had to climb up a pole, but they couldn't because he put grease on it. And they'd have to figure out ways around that. So squirrels were really smart. And he documented the whole thing and created a thing on the Squirrel Olympics. So putting in his next project of putting in your own selfie satellite or citizen scientist selfie satellite thing.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
has
he
so much
also
fun.
has a series of toys that, every month he was doing it, that would be
we
a
belong to
different-
that.
It would be kind of, they weren't plastic toys. They were more like wooden toys, but they would teach children a little bit of science at the same
Well,
time.
yeah, it's called the Crunch Lab monthly subscription.
Yeah.
And he
And you get
sends out a really fun do-it-yourself science kit with all of the pieces that you need. It's kind of Lego-ish, but it's an engineering accomplishment. And he teaches you amazing things. He teaches you how to make your own calculators so that you can get a device that can add by rolling a pinball through a maze, I mean, he comes up with all kinds of really fun toys that teach really interesting engineering concepts. We subscribe to it. They've got one for kids, they've got one for adults. And if you're a subscriber, then you get a special code to send in a selfie, and then that selfie will be part of the satellite photo from space project when they finish that up.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
Anybody who buys one of their approximately $40 kits as a gift for Christmas will get a code to send to space. So we're not involved in any way. We're just fans, but I think anybody who loves Crunch Lab should know about it.
Yeah, I have some children that are about 6 years old. This would be the perfect thing for them.
Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah, it's such a great gift.
I think one of the Crunch Labs was a domino thing that would stand up dominoes for you.
Yeah, right.
so
you
that's
have a domino stacker to do domino.
So you can not create your
art.
mazes, your long domino mazes, and you don't have to do it yourself. You get your little robot to do it.
I had one of those when I was a kid.
Did you add a robot domino stacker?
I wish
no,
I did.
yeah.
God, I remember spending hours and then accidentally hitting one of the dominoes.
Oh, there goes the whole thing. That's
Well, if you had your Robo stacker, it wouldn't be a
Yeah.
problem.
That's right. You just start all over.
That's
Just-
right. Just try again.
Yeah, so it's kind of like when I'm downloading programs. Come back later. SpinLaunch, to complete on that topic, they have their prototype in the New Mexican desert at Spaceport America.
Mm-hmm.
It's called their 108-foot
Maybe
accelerator.
we should go visit. Maybe we're not
A33.
that far from them.
That's down by our friend John's.
Well, if we do a little field trip down there, let's go visit SpinLaunch. That'll be fun. That'll be a fun
Okay.
little outing.
And the way they get into space is that once they launch it up into the stratosphere, then a little solid-state rocket engine kicks in and pushes it the rest of the way.
Cool.
Because apparently they can't quite get it all the way into space. They said they can get a 10-fold reduction in launch costs and a 70% reduction in the use of fuel. So they still need to use a little bit of fuel at the end.
Right. It's like a
Bump
hybrid.
it out there, yeah.
They don't-
hybrid rocket. Yeah.
Not just a spring, but a little bit of gas.
Hybrid launch capability. Exactly.
So cool. I love it.
Now, slightly closer to home in Santa Cruz itself, Joby. Joby is in the news.
Oh, that's really exciting too.
Joby Aviation and a company called JetX, JETEX. And they have teamed up to create a network of private terminals connecting their robo aerial taxis with each other.
Okay, so first of all, we're talking about Santa Cruz owned Joby Avionics,
That's right.
right?
And
And they got a big contract with a 6-year exclusive license to provide their automated flying taxis to spaceports in Abu Dhabi.
they don't call them spaceports.
What do they call them?
Vertiports.
Skyports.
Vertiports.
Vertiports.
Vertiports. Yeah. And
The company is called Skyjet or something?
Well, the company that they're doing the business with is called JetX.
JetX.
Yeah. It's a new kind of airport, okay? So instead of with runways, you have places where aircraft can land vertically. You see this all the time on science fiction movies. The Star Wars stuff all has vertiport type technologies there because you don't see any ships landing on a runway anymore. They're all vertical takeoff and landing. It's kind of like that. And
Jetsons, you know.
yeah, Jetsons. You can imagine that. Yeah, that's more like it. They'll be initially in Abu Dhabi. They'll be at the airport there, and they'll be able to take you to all the popular places you want to go if you're a tourist. Sightseeing areas, or you want to go downtown, you can go downtown on it, things like that. They have a network of vertiports, probably loosely based on where helicopters landed.
But there's no pilot, or is it?
Well,
automated?
initially there is room for the pilot. It's just they pass all the rules that way. But it's like the full self-driving in the Tesla. You still need a driver at this point in time. But I don't think that'll last long.
Yeah.
Initially, yeah. And that's one of the reasons why I think Joby's ahead is because they are hybrid and they're allowing the space for actually having a pilot and later not having one. Well, Waymo, and one of Google's companies, is going for no steering wheel, no brakes, no gas pedal, just a mobile living room for your convenience as you travel. And that is only a ground vehicle. That's not an aerial vehicle. So Joby is ahead in that they're heading towards full autonomy, but they can use a pilot and have, I think it's like the pilot and 5 passengers.
Yeah. In your own little drone. Passenger taxi.
The next time you go to Costco, you can see their headquarters just before you turn left to go
That's
to
right.
Costco.
It used to be, what was it called? PlanetWorks that designed
No.
headphone. Planet. Come on, you remember.
Plantier or something like that? It was
Plantronics.
Plantronics. There
yeah.
you go. Plantronics.
Plantronics.
Really?
So the old Plantronics building is now the headquarters of Joby. I think it's Joby,
Joby
Avionics.
Aviation, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I've driven there to the Costco in Santa Cruz.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I didn't know it was right there. Gosh.
Right
okay. Next time,
there. Our own little Santa Cruz.
so next time, I'm just going to take a look for sure.
Yeah, it's an epic chapter in aviation, planetary aviation, right in our own backyard. It's amazing. So JetX is they have an exceptional operational network in Abu Dhabi, and they're excited to work with Joe Ben Bivera, the CEO of Joby Aviation, and they have terminals all across Abu Dhabi. This is something that's going to begin next year, and they have an exclusive right for 6 years, as Mrs. Future said at the beginning here. And Skyports is Joby's infrastructure partner in Dubai. They're the construction company. They're building the first vertiport in the Dubai air taxi network. The first one is at the international airport there. So if you do ever go to Dubai, you'll see it under construction right now.
Awesome.
It's
Hey.
2:30.
Oh, thank you very much. Is that your computer?
Yeah, I set my computer up so I could better keep track of time, so it announces every half hour.
Well, isn't that classically when you have a commercial or a break, right?
Oh, that's right.
break
What a good
time.
reminder.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, let me find our breaks and we'll take that as a cue, huh?
And get the new sound effect too. Don't forget that.
Okay, I'm ready for the sound effect.
Holiday lights at the Santa Cruz County Fairgrounds. Open every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night through December 24th, with special bonus nights December 23 and 24. There's giant trees, packages, reindeer, Santa's toy shop, a lighted tunnel, an enchanted forest, and more on this 3/4-mile drive through the fairgrounds. Tickets available at fairgrounds-foundation.org and at the gate. Enjoy the magic of holiday lights.
Ho, ho, ho!
Get hooked up with affordable cannabis at the locally owned Hook Outlet. The Hook is a friendly neighborhood outlet where everybody above the age of 21 can have access to the best cannabis products for the best prices in the county. Get friendly local service and great prices in person and online at the Hook Outlets in Capitola and Watsonville. Order online at hookoutlet.com and pick up 9 to 9, 7 days a week. Get hooked up at the locally owned Hook Outlet.
When you need help escaping from an abusive relationship, call on the Angel.
Hello, I am attorney Angel Hess, and I am ready to help you. Whether you or a loved one needs legal protection from an abusive spouse, cohabitant, or neighbor, I will help you. I have over 7 years' experience working as a lawyer protecting others from abusive relationships.
Stop the abuse now. Call on the Angel, attorney Angel L. Hess at santacruzlegal.net.
Experience the extraordinary. Travel with Shen Yun to discover 5,000 years of wisdom, beauty, drama, and humor live on stage. You're not just watching a performance. You are witnessing a culture reborn. Come see what the modern world has never seen. The beauty and wonder of China before communism. Coming to San Francisco, San Jose, and Berkeley, starting on December 26th. Shenyun.com/CA. SHENYUN.com/CA.
Experience a new holiday tradition for the whole family with Santa Cruz Shakespeare's production of A Christmas Carol. With performances at the Veterans Hall in downtown Santa Cruz, audiences will enjoy a magical, theatrical, and music-filled adaptation of the Charles Dickens classic. Tickets on sale now. Visit santacruzshakespeare.org for more information.
Welcome back.
Now that's my girl. She knows how to bring in those sound effects just right on schedule. That's perfect.
Getting there.
That's good. Thank you.
Getting a clue. Got to practice.
All right. Well, right now, folks, there's a live event going on. It's a 12 days of reveals from the infamous OpenAI company over in the valley here. They're the ones that brought out ChatGPT and have been one of the leaders in the whole AI movement, the AI release of new products. So 12 days, and every day they're rolling out something else. And we're on the 4th or the 5th day now. Yesterday they dropped Sora. Now, Sora was one of the top contenders in the text-to-video world, where you describe a scene and the AI creates that scene for you. Amazing, amazing technology, real photorealistic, high-end stuff, and available to the public for as low as $20 a month.
And you tried going and downloading your free copy, and this website is so busy that even you couldn't do it.
It's not free anymore.
Oh, really?
No, there are levels of access, but Sora, they can see the tremendous desire to have something like that, so they're charging for it. I'm trying to get in to see exactly what it would cost just if I signed up for Sora, but I haven't been able to get in yet.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. Anyway,
Okay.
so there's
Isn't the pro version like $200 a month?
Well, that's the pro version, yeah. Yeah, that's the high end for doing graphics. But for people who are in the business, who are doing graphics animation and movie making, it's cheap, right? If you're a professional. If you're a high school kid, maybe not so much.
I mean, this will transform Hollywood.
Well, for starters, yeah, because
It's
Hollywood
already
can afford it.
transforming. It's been, the creatives have been embracing the AIs for the better part of the last year. It's become quite normal to have AI. It's so normal that Adobe has interrupted their AI contributions by forcing you to include AI credits if you even use their image just to try something.
Well, that's Adobe.
Well, but they're not the only ones. A lot of organizations are trying to ask people to give credit if you use AI, just to keep it clear that humans are still in the loop somewhere.
So that was the fourth day of Christmas, you might say, from OpenAI, was the release of Sora. They released a few other things before that, not quite as big. Some more was like stocking stuffers, I guess you might say. For example, they released a reasoning model for their 01 version of ChatGPT, and a reinforcement fine-tuning tool, not something most people would give a rat's ass about, but those are into AI would. Reinforcement fine-tuning tool. And then Sora dropping yesterday. And they have a dedicated Sora.com platform for that. They see a big opportunity there.
Now, what are you going to do when you get Sora? What are you going to do
Well,
with
I'm not
it?
going to do anything different than what I'm doing now, which
You're
is
gonna
really
make some
writing
more little movies.
I'm writing scripts right now. It's more about the stories that you can tell, and I'll use whatever tools are best available when
But Sora basically can turn an image into a short video, right? 30 seconds or something like that. They give you some
it turns
gesture.
text into
And text. Oh, I thought it worked with an
to
image.
video. No. Well, there's image to video and text to video. If they're smart, they'll do both.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what their competition is doing.
That's what people want.
The idea is that if you have an image, then you can sort of base your entire video on the stylistic qualities of that image. If it's photorealism, or if it's Dante's Inferno, you just give it a picture and it will create the movie on that sensibilities of your picture. Pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So that's undergoing, and you can check that out. We have a link on our webpage at drfutureshow.com/links, where you can look at the 12 days of OpenAI live on day 5.
Okay.
There's a new opportunity for NASA to evolve rather dramatically with the new administration.
Oh, right. Now, for people who aren't tracking NASA that closely, we have a new appointee coming in as the head of NASA, and he is a pilot, entrepreneur, and a sort of a famous astronaut because he was the head of the team called Inspiration 4, which was the first SpaceX crew that was launched. It was a privately launched crew on the crew module. So Issacson was the captain of that crew.
Yeah, so he's worked with SpaceX quite extensively.
Mm-hmm.
He's now going to be head of NASA as a private businessman, a billionaire and private astronaut businessman. You can only imagine that he's probably going to take a lot of what he's learned from hanging out with Elon Musk over the years and applying that into the structure of NASA.
Yeah, and of course, Elon haters are all over this, like, oh, there's Trump doing another know-nothing in the NASA program. And meanwhile, these people don't have really much of a clue about what a incredible, young, entrepreneurial pilot and just what a kind of a wonderful human being this very successful young man is. And the fact that he's partnered with Elon Musk in the past is maybe what brought him to the attention. And of course, the head of NASA, he's a fellow who's in his 80s.
He's 82 years old.
It's
frankly.
time for him to retire. And Issacson is a very good choice to replace him.
So you're all for this. You'd say that
I am. I think it's good energy.
The Trump-nominated Issacson.
Yeah. Well, and
Oh,
he's
Bill
very
Nelson is who you're
knowledgeable
thinking of.
about the Polaris mission. I mean, the Polaris mission has been the embarrassment of NASA for a huge long time.
82-year-old Bill Nelson.
Bill Nelson, that's I could picture
Former
his
Democratic
face.
Florida senator.
Yeah, and he's been on any of the podcasts for the NASA launches. He's always the one speaking for NASA. He's a recognizable, iconic guy. He's been there forever. He's a real sweetheart.
Yeah. So this looks good. As a matter of fact, you have a little clip of him talking.
Oh, I do.
So you can hear what he says.
I do. We had a little interview from Embry Riddle. So Embry Riddle did an interview with Jarod Issacson, and we just took out one of their questions so you could get a little
What was
flavor.
the question that he was
The
asked?
question from Embry Riddle is, and this is published in Florida Today, based on your experiences, do you have any words of wisdom for those future generations who want to follow in your footsteps?
What do you have for the future, kid?
Are you ready?
The new head of NASA says,
yeah, look, I think there is going to be so many more opportunities. Like the KPI here is the number of people that are in orbit at any one time. And my first mission, 3 years ago, it was 14, not a big number. My last mission was another record, 19. Not a big number, moving in the right direction. You know what changes that? A single starship, then it's 100 people in orbit. And then when you have, 100 starships, because there's 2 factories making them, like this is going to grow at such an exponential rate. It's going to be hard to fathom how many people are going to have opportunities to be in space in the near future. And there's going to be roles that are going to be inevitably required for the safety of everyone else. There's going to be health and wellness roles. I mean, again, 50-60% of astronauts get really sick when they first get there. You're going to need people to take care of them. There's going to need to be hardware engineers, software engineers, geologists. I mean, specialists in, biotech and manufacturing. It's just so many possibilities. I think a lot of it comes down to what will that space economy be that will necessitate so many people in space? But there won't be shortages, at least relative to the past where you were better off getting struck by lightning or have better chances of it. We're going into a whole new age right now where there's going to be a lot of opportunity.
There you go.
So that's our future head of NASA, Jarod Issacson.
Opportunity of space, 100 starships launches. Yeah, that's way beyond. If you compare it to where NASA is at now.
Well, don't you like that number? The KPI is the number of people that are in space simultaneously. Yes. I mean, that's a big number. People are always so critical of the space program because so many people are on the ground to get one guy into near Earth orbit. And yet, when you really are a visionary looking at becoming a solar system civilization and a massive galactic civilization, we have to get beyond that KPI of a couple of tens of people and go all the way to thousands of people, countless civilizations in space.
I know. It's hard to imagine for us who have not really been in space even once yet. Oh,
long way to go.
I know, right?
Right.
Yeah, we're going to have to get there. Oh, this is funny.
What's funny?
Do you have any laughs on our soundboard here?
Yes, we do.
Pull me up a laugh.
All right, I'll pull you up a...
I've got a little...
Is it a laugh? It's an applause. Is that
no,
close
it's not
enough?
the same thing. Okay, applause.
We need some laughs.
We need laughs. Come on. Let's do the applause, but let me tell you, this is from Dave Welch, our buddy at Santa Cruz Voice. He sends a screen grab from a social post of the Flat Earth Society.
All right, you ready for some applause?
Yeah, the Flat Earth Society did a post. It's probably for Facebook or some social media construct like that. Their headline is, "The Flat Earth Society has members all around the globe."
That's our new slogan.
Flat Earth Society.
I love it. Oh.
Okay. Yeah, Flat Earth Society everywhere, all around the globe. Thank you, Dave, for that comic respite.
Great. Love it.
So have you been tracking what's been going on with Bitcoin lately?
Well, it was up at $98,000 yesterday, and now it's back down to 94, something like that. But there's a lot of people who are prognosticating that it's going to just be through the roof. It's going to be $1 million by the end of the year or something.
But in reality, it has dropped again a little bit.
Yeah,
right?
It drops because the mainstream still doesn't understand it and the people who do understand it have very divergent opinions about why it's successful and how different inventions affect that. So you have some articles about that, I know.
I do, because one of the things that ties the high tech with the financial are things like the Bitcoin. And I'll tell you why, because it involves tech.
Mm-hmm.
Bitcoin's value could be affected if this other story that's in the news is really, really true.
Okay.
And it was...
so let's direct people to drfutureshow.com on the links page.
Okay, and the piece I'm referring to, the tech breakthrough is that Google revealed a quantum computing chip with breakthrough achievements.
Right.
It's a new chip called Willow. It's a quantum computing chip that's capable of performing a task in 5 minutes that our supercomputers of today would take 10 septillion years to complete. That's longer than the age of the universe itself, and it can do it in 5 minutes. That's the new Willow chip. So when the Willow chip was announced, Bitcoin started dropping in value because when we have that kind of computing power, we have the ability of decrypting every encryption scheme on this planet in a few seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So encryption goes out the window. When that happens, it all turns to silly putty or something. We don't know what will happen. Chaos will happen unless we anticipate this and perhaps plan a little bit for it. But the Google chip has this power for very specific kinds of computations, and the algorithms that are currently being used for encryption in Bitcoin have not been broached. So when we...
Well, that's because the way that Bitcoin is made safe is by the fact that this blockchain, which is the ledger of all the transactions and who owns the Bitcoin, is verified in such a way that the miners have to agree, at least 5 different miners from this random universe of Bitcoin miners all have to agree that the next Bitcoin is here in the list. And as soon as all those computers agree, then and only then is that transaction affirmed. And it's hard to, you'd have to replicate the whole system in order to fake the next transaction.
Yeah, so it's not trivial.
Yeah.
As most high-end encryption schemes are not trivial.
Mm-hmm.
And so they haven't been broken yet.
Right.
But Willow is at what they call 105 qubits, which is the best-in-class performance, 105 for a quantum supercomputer. Their next goal is to perform a beyond classical computation that is relevant to real-world applications and something that typical computers can't achieve. And hopefully that's not breaking encryption. That's their goal. However, I'm sure somebody's that is their goal for that, but not our NSA anything. No, not it. They would go for something far more useful, like cracking the code for their enemies. But that is encryption, right? It all comes down to encryption, doesn't it?
I guess so. The people who think the most about how to keep us safe think the most like computers. Like, oh, what's a secret code that nobody but us will know? That's a real non-human way of keeping us safe.
That's true. I think they're probably not the best.
And yet, the human cyborgs, that's the way their brain works. They're like, yeah, how can I have a qubit computer that can decrypt septillion codes faster than anything else in the universe?
I am God.
Right. It makes me know that we are hybrids. We've been mutated by aliens. This is not Earth logic at all.
Well, I'm thinking that it can help us decipher some of the secrets of nature.
There you go. Yeah, because she's hiding them behind those massive encryption codes.
Well, she's not really hiding anything, but except out of the sight of those that don't think the way that allows you to be revealed.
Mm-hmm.
That's there for you if you can figure out how to think properly, about what reality is. They're looking at it from a cultural perspective of discovering new medicines, designing more efficient batteries, very species-centric behaviors, accelerating the progress in fusion energy. Maybe the quantum computers can figure that out. Maybe a whole new form of energy that perhaps we haven't even thought about, like, power from micro black holes. Who knows? Things can get weird really fast.
And I know you're tracking it.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be the first to know.
We're still pretty good. I think we can have a normal week, pretty much. Enjoy Christmas.
Oh, good. Okay. It's not that weird yet.
So, Bobby, what's this
Still
you're posting
recognizable.
on crypto inheritance planning? Soonkeeper crypto inheritance planning beyond password management, digital inheritance with seed. What's that all about?
That's an interesting way to look at how to transfer your inheritance, if it's in crypto, to your offspring correctly. I think the big thing is, you were talking about this quantum cracking algorithm that could crack all these codes, right?
Yeah.
And so
that's the fear anyway, or the hope, depending on how you look at it.
I think if you look at what Apple's been thinking about this to keep their keys, their Apple password keys and things, so they have a quantum proof encryption. And so they're implementing that because they anticipated companies like Google with their quantum computers to crack all the AES codes.
Interesting. So there really is some anticipation of quantum.
So there are two things that, like right now, the government is asking everybody to encrypt all their conversations because they're so worried about all the cell phone conversations today are being recorded by countries like China, and they are actually hoovering up all the encrypted emails and communications between all different companies right now with the hopes that when they have their quantum computer,
they'll be able
they
to
can
crack it all.
those codes, and then they can open up these encrypted envelopes of information and look at what people were saying. Even today, we think that we're safe because we can encrypt our messages, but there's only two ways to do it today safely, and that's with Signal, because they're quantum proof. They're the first company to have a quantum proof transaction.
I'm not quite sure how you can make it quantum. I mean, anyway, the finish. What's the other one? The
other one is Apple, where their passkeys. They have layer 3 quantum proof encryption right now. The best way to do it is communicate with FaceTime or Signal right now. And the United States government is asking you to do that today.
Oh, okay. So what do we have to do?
You just sign up for a Signal account.
Oh, to just go to Signal? Yeah, I use Signal. Though I heard that was set up by intelligence agencies as well. So
yeah, but at least it's our intelligence agencies instead of those who our intelligence agencies want to spy on.
The other intelligence agencies.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
when they sell their data
quantum.
to China, which, everything in America ultimately is going to be sold because they'll run out of money here and they'll sell it to China.
Is it to a country or is it to a billionaire?
The big worry is to China because they're hoovering up all the data because it's out there. And
so the Chinese state has all that data.
And the United States government is asking us to actually make all our private phone calls either through Signal
They didn't call me, Bobby.
Didn't tell you?
They told you, but they didn't tell me.
I'll look up the article, but they just announced this last week. So.
Oh, good. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're telling us.
I wish they would make it available as backups. I mean, I've lost so much data from hard drives crashing.
Wouldn't that be good?
Yeah.
If only China was hoovering up all our data so much that we could get our backups from them.
I would pay them for that.
Get some good out of this.
Make some money from it. Yeah, data backup thing, courtesy of the Chinese national security.
I wonder if they could make money by selling you what you lost on your hard
what
drive.
if the future world, when the AIs outpace the humans, what if there is no more enemies? Yes! What if it's just one planet with everybody kind of pulling together and you can get what you want from wherever it is? You don't have to think about whether they're your enemy or your friend because they're just Earthlings.
Yeah, you need to have non-Earthlings to really balance that out.
Well, that's what Reagan said, right? Reagan saying, what if, is it going to take an alien civilization for the people of the world to unite?
How do you get beyond war? You have a bigger movie.
That's right. You need a bigger enemy.
Bigger movie.
Outside.
Well, that's
then you can unite against your bigger enemy.
Until you realize what all the gurus have been telling you, that there really isn't any other.
That's right. You are the other, and we are the other, and there's only one of us others.
Yeah, and if enough others recognize that, then we wouldn't have to fight them.
That's
right. It'd just be us killing ourselves.
Oh, to repeat one of my favorite truisms of life.
Yeah.
We are they, but some of them don't know it yet. Oh.
It's her bumper sticker.
The other one is forgive now and avoid the rush.
Forgive now, yeah, or
Forgive now and avoid the rush. Everybody who's carrying some kind of chip on their shoulder or some kind of way that they're bugged that they can never get over because they're so pissed.
Yeah.
Forgive now and avoid the rush.
The one I knew was
make peace.
Flunk now and avoid the rush.
Why did you know that?
I was in the bathroom wall in high school.
Flunk now and avoid the rush.
Yeah.
Must have been a hard school.
Or flush twice, it's a long way to the cafeteria.
That's really bad.
That was high school.
Boom. Let me see.
Yeah.
Do we have
you have an
noise
effect for that? Yeah, I think you do. You just have to look it up
do.
real fast.
Let me see. Oh, here we go. Try this one.
She can...
All right. Let's see. We are down to the wire. 1 minute until our news break at the top of the hour in the middle of the show.
Yeah, we got many more fun stories to share with you beyond quantum computing and the end of encryption as we know it. We have a whole thing going on about the future of manned air flight, especially jet fighters. And the new administration's got some plans for that, and we wanted to talk about that a little bit. And also there's a new AI model called GenCast that's supposed to be way more accurate with weather. And also, you remember Terminator 2?
Sure.
Well, there's some real technology of liquid metal and self-assembling electronics that's in the news.
Cool.
Wow, wow, wow.
Glad you like it, sweetheart.
All right. Well, on that note, stay tuned, folks. Future Now. Yes!
I'm glad to be here. Wee's back.
I'm glad you're here.
Oh,
I'm glad you're here too, Bobby.
Yeah, I'm so glad to be with you.
Yeah.
All right, another Future Tuesday coming into focus. What's next?
Well, one of the
what
things
else you got on your brain. Oh, should we announce the phone?
Oh yeah.
Phone line. Anybody who wants to listen live, we are ready to pick up calls at 831-265-5050, the live call-in line for Santa Cruz Voice. We'll keep an eye out. If you call in, we'll know it.
831-265-5050.
That's
yeah,
right.
It's if you're verbally oriented. You've heard about how Musk and Vivek are going to save...
Vivek Ramaswamy.
They're supposed to save trillions of dollars from our national
The Department
expenses.
of Government Efficiency, Doge.
Dogecoin.
Like the Dogecoins,
Right.
which started out as a joke for people who like dogs.
In the name of saving money, one of the big issues in the military world is whether or not we should continue financing jet aircraft, fighter jets specifically. They're very expensive airplanes, sometimes $1 billion or more apiece. Really, are they that much more effective than a drone at 1/10, if not 1/100th of the cost? That is the question. Elon tends to lie in the direction of drones, while some more of the classic military generals love jet fighters, jet airplanes. And what can a pilot do, or a pilot with an AI do, that's better than just a drone or an automatic plane? So the Air Force, intelligently so, is creating plans to somehow combine the two, to have a pilot with robot wingmen. So literally the pilot is in charge of a small drone fleet that can do his bidding. So he's the local human intelligence with shovel drones at his control, including the wingmen.
So it seems like you could practice for that by doing drone shows. If you get yourself skilled at the software to control several drones in simultaneous patterns.
Well, if you were in charge of your drone show, yeah, I think we could do that for fun. I'm looking at a drone Christmas show myself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we were just showing Bobby our drone Christmas ornament.
I'm having fun flying Christmas ornaments around with my drone. Ones that light up.
Little light show.
Yeah, it's really fun.
It's the one-man drone show. Best one-man drone show I've ever seen.
Well, it's amazing. You know, I've got 200 lights on the drone now. It's like a giant ball. It looks like an atom that pulses and changes color and stuff.
It's amazing that drone can lift all those lights.
Yeah. Fortunately, they're very light. And the batteries. The batteries are the heavy part.
Yeah, that was an amazing light show on the beach there.
Yeah, that's just beginning. Wait till you see what's next. Wow. Meanwhile, should we continue to spend money on the F-35, for example, which is the new manned fighter jet? Or is it obsolete in the age of drones? Can a drone do everything a jet fighter can do without all the overhead of a pilot, where it can only go up to 10 Gs because biology gets crushed after that? There's certain limitations to having a pilot on board. But what are the advantages? Is there anything that a brilliantly trained pilot can do that a drone can't do? It probably are. But how much is that worth?
Yeah, I think what's interesting is Tesla has built this Colossus computer, which has got 100,000 H100 NVIDIA processors running.
Right.
And just recently, he's actually been able to get coherence. In other words, before the Google and Microsoft was saying that the limit to these H100 processors is, can you have them think as one computer, one CPU?
The coherence between them.
And the limit would be 25,000 possibly with Ethernet connecting them. So Jensen, the head of
NVIDIA, right?
NVIDIA, went to Elon, and Elon says, yeah, we can do it. And so they have, for the first time, have 100,000 of these H100 processors connected together as one CPU.
That's fascinating. Wow, it's like one giant supercomputer.
Yes, and everybody else said this was impossible. And Jensen Huang has said Elon was the only person on the planet that could have done this.
To reach this level of connectedness.
So that allowed his setup in Memphis, Tennessee with Colossus. It actually accelerated or allowed it to be 10 times to 1,000 times more effective, because instead of having independent processors separated and then they'd have to confer with each other, it's acting as one mind. And he's planning to put another 100,000 very shortly. It only took him 19 days from the day that they signed the agreement and had it delivered, 19 days to have it up and running. They had people at Tesla working day and night for 19 days, and they got it running. And so it is the fastest supercomputer on the planet right now.
What is their initial planned use for it, as far as you know?
It's used for training. So there's two parts to AI. One is training. Right now, we think of Tesla as being a car company, but actually,
No, I think of it as being kind of a robot company.
Yes.
Because they've got a
and
robotized factory line.
Yeah, but even beyond that, the cars are using video, and they're going to train Colossus by using all this video, which is a lot of information.
I mean, from the thousands of Tesla cars out there in real time collecting data on the roads.
And they are collecting the data. So they're
and that's
collecting
just a
the data.
subset. If you go to X and Grok, they're collecting all the data of the zeitgeist of the communicating human mind,
Well,
the texts of the free speech
you think
believers, the
Colossus
free
will
speech
track that too?
absolutists.
So
Right.
Colossus
Yes. So
has access
it's
to a lot of data.
understanding us right now.
Yeah.
And it's learning from all the Tesla cars. So the Tesla cars are actually the media going into the training of Colossus. And Colossus can look at video and figure out what people look like, how people stop at a stop sign, how you drive through fog, how to detect dogs and trucks and coming at different angles, because the cameras have 360-degree video around each of the Tesla cars right now. So all that data is going in for training of Colossus. And then in the future, very shortly, they'll have 200,000 of these NVIDIA processors. And their plan next year is to have 1 million of these. And because they have this coherence that it's going to be acting as one mind. So it's beyond comprehension how intelligent this thing can be and what it can do. And so when they're going to put all these videos of fighter jets that are pilots in these aircraft, put that into Colossus, and it's going to figure out how to take that information and condense it down and put it in these drones. And these drones will be acting as better fighter pilots than the actual fighter pilot himself. That's where everything's going.
So that may be the machines fighting the machines.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Also, I noticed that X is collecting CAT scans and X-rays and all kinds of medical data on people to help analyze those types of charts and information to, I guess, ostensibly give us a better diagnostic system than what's currently in operation. Because diagnosis is a real important part of medicine.
Yeah,
you get that wrong, you get treated wrong. So what do you like to do?
What I'd like to do is take my MRI scan of my brain and then have it reread by an expert AI, and then it would tell me more things, because the radiologist is the main person that they talk to the neurologist, and they talk to each other, and they say, well, yeah, we discovered this or that in the brain. But if you had AI do it, it would discover more things than just one radiologist.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd give you some more input. And quite frankly, most of us don't have access to medical professionals all the time. While these things will be at our fingertips, like a search engine. It's a huge difference in capacity. You wonder, for example, how much when people are diagnosed with diseases are looking it up now and finding out more about what their condition is and what alternatives there are than ever before. And I think this will just increase that.
You should be prepared when you go see the doctor that you should know more than the doctor.
Yeah, because he doesn't really have a lot of time for you.
Well, if you've been figuring out how to get AI to be your assistant.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's like your personal computer. It's your personal assistant. It cares about you. Well, the doc may care about you, but he only has 10 minutes for you. In a very busy day, these guys are overworked and don't have a chance to really get to know in depth your situation. I've seen that personally in our family here. My brother's wife is a nurse, and she tracks things much more in depth than normal. But I think that what she's tracking could be something that everyone could, because the nurse-type knowledge the AIs could absorb and become better assistants in knowing your situation.
Yeah.
That's the think different generation. We think that the positive effect of our computer age and taking the knowledge and turning it over to the AIs gives us a planetary brain that makes life better for all life, for ourselves, for humans. But the people who are anti-technology and who are using the tools of this new human brain to enslave humanity, those now have become the object of fear. So it's always 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, right?
Yeah. And meanwhile, back with the Air Force, a decision on whether or not to move forward towards drones rather than piloted aircraft, it's billions and billions of dollars that are at stake here. Has major implications, like classic defense contractors like Lockheed Martin are dependent on major military contracts. But Silicon Valley being what it is, a lot of eager startups are ready to break in and start to be lots of small companies that start to provide the drones rather than just the big companies like Boeing and Lockheed Martin. And it also raises a question about which group of entrepreneurs will rise into positions of power, like Musk. It's pretty obvious that his companies stand to benefit a lot from more military contracts.
Well, but if you look into the history of Musk, he used to be getting squeezed out during the Rumsfeld era and the no-bid contracts. He literally had to go to court and enforce antitrust laws in order to be able to bid to get the jobs from the government. And now people act like, oh yeah, he's a government stooge, he's dependent on the government. He's obviously a fascist because he wants the government contract. They have no sense of the history of how much he has been a law-abiding entrepreneur trying to play in a game that has been stacked against him.
But now he's on top.
That's right. Now he's on top.
Club.
That's right.
Yeah. Now he's best buddies with the president.
Yeah.
And the richest man in the world.
First buddy, right? Instead of first lady.
And Tesla's bigger than General Motors. So yeah, he is establishment now, but how is he going to use the power?
What it is if you have the biggest supercomputer and you can use it to train with videos and understand people and understand, let's say, for instance, in this idea of having drones, it's like the Wizard of Oz. It's like the straw man. It's like all of a sudden, all these robots, they don't have a brain right now. But with this training that Colossus can do, all of a sudden, in an instant, it could just drop these models into these brains of the memories of these robots.
Yeah, they all update at the same time.
It would be super intelligent instantly.
We have an article about a rat robot experiment that is a wonderful illustration of this, of how the people who are learning to program robots with robot intelligence are approaching, for instance, the issue of emulating rat behavior. So that's one of the articles today. that gives people some insights about this.
Yeah. The venture capitalists with this drone technology have invested about $130 billion so far in startups that will provide new technology for the military. And a lot of this is going towards the autonomous drones. $130 billion in R&D.
Oh, boy. Ender's Game, here it come.
Yeah. And so they're competing with the very costly jet fighters by Lockheed. And SpaceX tends to gain a lot because Elon is a big part of SpaceX.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Robot Rodents and How AI Learned to Squeak and Play is a really cool article that's on the Dr. Future show.
I do like the hybridization of biology with the AI stuff, you know, where it doesn't leave us out. It's not an end game for our species or for our intelligence. How can we create a win-win here, you know?
Yeah, we are supposed to be the stewards of life. And here we are extending nature's reach so that we can get off this very unstable planet before our star explodes. So we're right on track evolutionarily.
Yeah.
And we're creating these little toys that emulate life. And so a robot rodent, this is just a fascinating article.
Well, so this is a fake rat.
It's a rodent robot. It's the Colossus version of a rat, right?
I see.
And it's very cute. Huh?
It's got ears.
It's got ears. It's got a little rat face because robot rodents, in order to emulate rat behavior, they have to be able to rub their nose up against the other rats so that they can communicate that they're friendly. You know, there's 3 kinds of behaviors that these robot rodents learned by watching rats. And these have to do with rats having an interest in engaging with these little rodents or with these robots or just ignoring them. And so if this robot watches videos of real rats, it then learns to behave like them.
From the videos?
From the videos. And it then acts like a rat in order to get their attention, even though it's very clearly this weird little mechanical robot. It doesn't have any fur. It has a sort of a fake face that's a little rat-like. And everything else looks very robotic.
So it's got a rat head, and it's enough for the other animals to recognize
Yeah, there's no
it
smell. It's obviously not an animal. But what it's doing, it has 7 joints that allow it to move its little arms like a rat, and it can stand up to full height the way a rat can. And it can pounce on another rat, which I guess is some kind of dominance behavior. And it can also pat another rat, which is a little less...
really?
That's not the word that they use, but it's a less invasive behavior than pouncing on it.
So they're discovering these behaviors that rats do, like touching each other?
And literally these robots are learning these behaviors from videos. The robots themselves are designed to be able to emulate these behaviors. And then this article is about how the rats, the real rats, were put into the lab with these robot rats with the goal of having the robot rat behave in ways that are familiar to them. And sure enough, these robot rats were able to get the real rats to pay attention to them instead of just treating them like inanimate objects.
Yeah. You wonder, what did the real rats want to like make love to them or something? Or,
no. The real rats were still kind of freaked out by them. You know, all they did was like acknowledge them and then move on.
Just that they exist. Oh, you exist. You're a rat.
Yeah. There was no robot rat romance budding or anything.
No, they didn't tease the rats along those lines.
No. The rats definitely wanted almost nothing to do with the robot rats.
Almost nothing.
Yeah, but they were willing to engage them enough to accept that maybe these rats knew how to take them. Like they knew how to pounce on them.
Whether they could beat them up or not. That's why they have the standing position.
They also knew how to kind of like nudge them with their nose, which is a form of friendly behavior. So the robot rats were able to communicate friendliness with the real rats.
Yeah. It does remind me of Spy Animals.
It does remind me of Spy Animals.
Remember that series?
Yeah. Well, at least they tried to make the Spy Animals look like real rats. This, they didn't even bother.
I know. Well, they got the kinesthetic touch, language, dominance behaviors down, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I guess if they start squeaking and I know. If the Robo Rat can cough up some food for the other ones, they would like that.
Well,
right?
obviously there's new behaviors about making friends, but this is really just trying to get a
try to
robot
communicate with
to
them.
emulate an animal. So it's kind of a new frontier in the zoology robot study.
Yeah. You know what would be interesting? If we could train the rats in our house to actually, say, for example, guard our house for us, where they're trained to keep out other rodents and other critters from coming into the house.
Are you talking about the real rats?
Yeah,
now?
if we
we
could
got the
somehow
real rats,
harness the rats in our houses so that they were serving us.
that's always
rather
been
than,
your fantasy, to
Well,
cohabitate with the real rats.
Well, they're there.
As if they're good neighbors.
How could they be good neighbors? If it's possible to retrain them.
Yeah, well, when you meet someone who has a good relationship with an animal, it's very admirable, right?
Yeah.
But usually the rats that are invading your house have no interest in being good neighbors.
You have to understand their mentality. You have to know where they're coming from.
Sure.
And also, they have to know where their food is coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And see,
Yeah.
that's where Pavlovian conditioning, and a lot of our psychology comes from studying how to train rats, how to create them to do certain things, and for the cheese or to escape from the maze, or in this case, I'm thinking practical things where they would keep out invading rodents or squirrels that want to nest in your house.
Boy, Al, I can't wait until we meet these future rats that you befriend.
You have a habit trail, they could travel around, they get fed for doing the right behaviors. And
It's 3:30.
Yeah,
Oh,
thank you.
Guess what that means?
Okay, I
Siri
guess
knows.
that conversation is not going anywhere with you. Bobby, help me out here. Don't you think it would be better if they, rats were more friendly to us?
I think what would be a great idea is we train these videos of what rat work like, and then you put that into an active inference model, and you download it to your vacuum cleaner, your robot vacuum cleaner.
Yeah. Okay, my vote.
And then it could actually use that to detect if it's seen a rat running around or a mouse running around
give me
your
a little
house,
intelligence report.
and then alert your home automation system to okay.
And then we
put
can
up-
send out the Robo Rat to make friends with it.
Yeah, and then communicate with it and tell them to go somewhere else.
These are the rules here. If you join our club, you'll get fed every day. If you don't, you're dead.
On that note,
Or you can leave.
We'll be right
Yeah.
back after some Santa Cruz Voice sponsors.
Santa Cruz Shakespeare presents a new holiday tradition with a Christmas Carol. Performances happening now through December the 24th at the Vets Hall in downtown Santa Cruz. Audiences will enjoy a magical, theatrical, and music-filled adaptation of the Charles Dickens classic. Get tickets today at santacruzshakespeare.org.
Hi, folks. How many of you out there love to garden? Wouldn't it be nice to grow some of your own food? Or maybe a flower garden would brighten your day. All you need is the Knox Garden Box, a heavily constructed, portable, elevated garden on legs that can virtually change the way you've gardened in the past. The Knox Garden Box can be set up anywhere. Yes, you can place it right on concrete at knoxgardenbox.com. That's KNOX, gardenbox.com.
Bring an extra helping of happiness to your holiday season with the fresh and fragrant Lions Club Christmas tree. When you light up the tree, your family will smile all the way to January. So bring the happiness. Pick up your tree from 10 to 7 at the Lions Club lot, Portuguese Hall near Costco. All proceeds go to help those in need in Santa Cruz. So bring the happiness. Don't delay. Trees are first come, first serve.
Cannabis is one of nature's most beneficial plants. Hello, I'm Jenna. Treehouse Dispensary, we use information about cannabis to build community. Listen to Carly.
Thanks, Jenna. For those who wake up in the middle of the night, Treehouse suggests a THC CBN chocolate edible blend like Sleepy Time from Sensi Chew. Sleep the night away.
For answers to your cannabis questions, ask your friends at Treehouse Dispensary, 3651 Soquel Drive in Soquel, or ourtreehouse.io.
Okay, welcome back to the show. Boy, this is the final half hour. Time has just been flying by today.
Definitely.
Man.
But that's because there's just so many fascinating things going on in this world that have never been done before. It's a time of inventions.
It is. It is.
It makes me think, that book Mutant Message Down Under? That was a big hit in the 90s.
Yeah, it's about the indigenous wisdom of the
Yeah.
elders in Australia.
Yeah, and the indigenous people said that they were the last of the original humans and that we are the next era of humans. We're kind of the mutated techno-humans. So you really see it just breaking out all over, right?
Techno-tribal.
I'm happy to be a techno-tribal mutant human. I like all this stuff that we're inventing.
Yes. I mean, we used to do the visuals for a techno-tribal trance dance band. Remember that?
Of course. I mean, we're going to make a documentary out of it one of these days. We still have
Yeah.
some beautiful visuals.
Yeah, that was a group called Lost at Last.
That's right.
A lot of fun. We're putting visuals to music for a major dancing crowd. Because it's just a different type of audience that are watching your visuals when they're dancing as opposed to when they're listening to you over your phone, most likely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a very interesting thing. Anyway, we're going to bring that out again. During COVID, we had a really fun one where we did what's called the Glow Tribe Dance Party. And it was
That was online.
Yeah, people were all stuck
During
at home,
COVID,
right?
We were dancing on screen.
Yeah, and everybody were basically dancing in their home, in their bedroom or their living room, to a common music that everyone was hearing. And then we were moving from one person to the other, dancing in with the visuals from the Zoom call and mixing them in a mixer so that we could do special effects on their faces and zoom them up or make them rotate or do fun things and then combine it with other people who were also dancing in real time with them. So as they were dancing, they got this montage of themselves and their friends dancing.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
It was very popular.
A lot of great special effects and real-time live energy that gave people a lot of joy from their individual remote posts.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll bring that back in some new form at some point because it was just too much fun not to happen again.
Yeah, well, we lost some of the key members who made that happen. We
I know,
lost
it's very
Katie
sad.
Wells, who
Yeah.
was our MC, and of course her husband, DJ Farrell, is still making parties happening. He's doing a New Year's party and carrying on regardless.
The tribe continues.
Yeah, and Ron
DeSantis?
No, Ron, who helps with the special effects, who's such a pioneer and great artist.
Ron Halbert is thinking you're talking
Halbert,
about.
see,
right?
I knew you would know it.
Yeah.
Ron Halbert.
He's a neighbor of Bobby's in San Francisco.
Yeah, right. You remember him, Bobby? You
Yes,
know Ron?
I do. Yeah.
He's such a great artist.
Yeah, we got excited about doing a virtual world when he was there. He built a movie theater inside a virtual world.
He did, and he also worked on the award-winning project that we got to try at the AWE conference, which was the Burning Man virtual world, which was really an amazing collection of the best of world simulation plus virtual objects as art pieces and as vehicles for riding and video. It was really wonderful virtual experience that he and his friends put together.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Oh, we just got a request from Richard Cray down in Long Beach.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to talk about the mysterious drone sightings that have been seen lately?
Oh, well, maybe Richard should call in and we'll talk about it with him. That'd be fun.
Well, there's been some mysterious drone sightings over New Jersey, particularly where...
Oh, maybe some of our
Yeah.
New Jersey friends would call in.
Yeah, they were reportedly first seen over Morris County, New Jersey. That's about a month ago.
831-265-5050.
And
They
they have
got
been
a live report.
They've been observed regularly across the Garden State, including a recent uptick in Middlesex County and other areas in the state. They've been talking about these mystery drone sightings, and state officials are trying to investigate them, and they still don't know what they are. And what's interesting about them is that they're big. They're really big. They could carry a person in them. That's how big they are.
Cool.
And no one knows anything about them. The FBI's been taking shots. Homeland Security or asking questions. They found the assassin in New York City faster than they found these people behind these drone flights. So witnesses say they look like drones. That doesn't mean they are drones because some people think that they might be fixed-wing aircraft. And there are reports coming from both the public and law enforcement for weeks now, but still no conclusions. Well, I saw some of the pictures myself, and it did look like a drone that carries people that is being built here in Silicon Valley. It's a more of an arcane one. It's not Archer Aviation. It's some other one that I've seen pictures of. I'm going to see if I can find the data on that. It definitely looked like it was a human-capable drone. Yeah. More mysterious were the ones that were seen over Langley Airfield last year. last October of 23, there were like 10 strange drone orbs that just hung around the base for 10 days, taking their time. They would come and go, and there was nothing the Air Force could do about it. And it was an Air Force base. So these things are in the face of people now, and it behooves Congress to look at this more closely. And that's why we have Danny Sheehan on the case.
That's right.
And
trying to pass the laws that make it that the Congress has the oversight of the secret knowledge of the military. So when they have a report about a UFO, they have to disclose it to a committee in Congress that is a public oversight committee.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. I need to bring it out. And he said that this drone thing is a big deal, and he's about to do a major report on that. So we'll keep you posted on
All
that.
right, next week we'll hear back about that. That sounds good.
Exactly, yeah. Okay.
Cool, fun.
Yeah, yeah, he's got some theories himself that he wants to bring forth. Local science news that I just wanted to do a shout out to a couple of Santa Cruz teens that made it to Washington, D.C. for a big report to scientists, this giant scientific gathering, environmental scientists, where our Santa Cruz teens were applauded for their fog drip research. Fog drip research. They collected fog from the air and were able to turn it into drinkable water. I just wanted to mention their name. It was Talia and Kaya Gerdak.
All right. Well, thank you, Talia and Kaya. Good job. Congratulations
Santa Cruz
on
high
your
schoolers.
rain collection research.
25,000
Meanwhile-
scientists presenting research to the annual meeting of the American Geophysical Union in Washington, D.C.
All right. I think we have a little call from Master Now. Let's see.
Okay. All right. Let's get into the now
And-
with Master Now.
Hello.
Master Now, calling from the future.
Hey, how you
Hey,
doing?
it's been a while, Master Now. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, how's the future looking?
Yes. Here now. It's 5:45 real time. I don't know where it is where you are. But
2 hours early.
oh, my goodness. Okay. I am definitely in the future.
You are. You're
okay,
our future
well,
post.
about these drones.
Yes.
I've been following a fellow named John Peterson, and he is a futurist.
Uh-huh.
And his institute's called the Arlington Institute.
Yes.
This guy's got some major cred.
Yeah,
And he and Greg Braden.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Bruce Damer.
He and Greg Braden.
It has been there. Arlington's very
Yeah,
popular.
I don't
Charles
know.
Osman speaks there.
Excellent. So he said that this week on the 3rd, starting on the 3rd, I believe, it was recently, that we were going to have a lot of, well, we're going to call it UFO because I like that name better. They keep changing the name because they do. But these are UFOs. They're calling them drones, but they act like they do things drones can't do, and they don't know what they are.
Like what? Like
Yeah.
flying fast?
Well, yeah, they make maneuvers that our drones can't do. So they could be from inner Earth. They could be from a hostile country. But if they are, we're in trouble. We should stop like pushing the river there to, we should, if we can't deal with these, what are we thinking? It's like,
Well, what can they do? Put yourself in the shoes of the military, and you have all this expensive
Make
equipment.
love, not war. How about that?
And you knew that, not if you're a general. You're not going to say that if you're a general.
It depends on which army you're in.
Well,
I
you
suppose
see,
so.
I don't
Bonobo
want to put
Army.
myself in the shoes of the military. I couldn't do that effectively because I am not a soldier. I am a teacher.
It's not
or
part of your
some
system.
such.
Yeah.
I'm not a soldier. Now, I could be okay with this strategy, but for the most part, I do much better teaching. But what I was going to mention is that Greg Braden isn't that far from you. He lives in the area that you're in right now.
Santa Fe?
And he is a major part of all this. Yes, very close. He might be worth checking out. Maybe even get him on the show. He's out there a lot.
He's traveling around a lot, yeah.
Gregg.
Yeah.
He travels a lot. We could think of these as UFOs, and they're calling them drones because they don't want to say UFOs.
Yeah, they have a new name. They call them UAVs now, right?
No, they call them
UAPs,
UAPs.
phenomena, right. What does it stand for?
Yeah,
Unidentified aerial phenomena.
Whatever, aerial.
Yeah.
Yeah, very creative people. But anyway, I just wanted to mention that. This is actually something that Cliff High predicted, and it had to do with a certain number of days after there was an interview with Trump. I think it might have been on Joe Rogan. And it was a certain number of days after that is when they were supposed to start. So we have to call that a hit from Cliff High. He misses a lot, but so I follow him a little bit, but not a lot. But
Joe
on
Rogan?
this one, there's a lot of stuff out there. We don't know what they are.
They're making themselves more evident, it would appear, that the case over Arlington Air Base was particularly noticeable because there's nothing the military seemed to be able to do about it. The only other thing I could think of is that maybe these orbs were in touch with the military and involved with some kind of secret Twilight Zone experiment where they were communicating with them, and it was an experiment along those lines. I don't know. Whoa.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting.
And do you have any favorite theories yourself?
I like to think it is saner minds going, why don't you stop, look, and listen for a second and stop doing these stupid, provocative things, rattling sabers and such.
So you think they're kind of our alien overlords?
Nature.
They're looking down at us like we would look on an anthill.
Or they?
Why are you having a war? Can't you stop that?
Or are they part of nature?
I'm actually quite happy for them to be inner Earth. I have no problem with that one. Like some of the original Atlanteans that went in, the ant people as such.
People from the inner Earth.
It could simply be someone like, I'm a big fan of Atlas Shrugged. So it could be technology along those lines that was just enough advanced to do things like that. It doesn't have to be ETs. It could be interdimensionals, but my guess is that it's more along the lines of something a little more terrestrial, even if it's inner Earth.
Well, my opinion is the jury is out because we remember that Werner von Braun disclosed that the black budget military secret government had this unfurling plan to always maintain that they could have as much money as they wanted and nobody would be looking into it. And the fifth phase of their enemies list, right? The first enemies was the countries that were our enemies.
Russia.
Yeah, Russia, China, etc. The second phase was rogue states, and that was the Iran, Iraq wars, etc. The third phase would be terrorists, and then the last phase would be aliens.
Right.
And all of these were really false flags, like just excuses to gin up our military and keep us strong.
And we're at the final phase now.
And I think that's exactly what's happened.
So we can't tell. Even if there are extraterrestrials, and even if all the stories are true, there's still this dynamic in the military to use them still in a lying kind of way to manipulate us.
Exactly. And so that's what we need to evolve past. What John is saying is that it's kind of like Bucky Fuller. You can't go against the powers that be actively because they're very good at taking care of people who go against them directly. Mm-hmm. What you do is you build a better way and then just disengage and stop feeding them. And so that's where Catherine Austin Fitch would say, stop paying the people who are stealing from you.
Okay, well, that's typically has been the case, the story. But what do you think of the idea that Elon Musk is close with the president now and the new president coming in, and Elon has this network of people that involve like major transformational things like Peter Diamandis and the longevity research and the abundance model of thinking as opposed to scarcity, the win-win-win-win scenarios, all those sort of things that are part of Elon's world that will now be part of Trump's world. Mm-hmm. What do you think of that?
Yeah, well, I'm optimistic by nature.
For the win-win.
I like that team.
Yes.
And that could change things very quickly.
Yes, I'm definitely an optimist. Yeah. And I do believe it's just a question of people waking up. There's a lot of control files. Somehow we have to get around that. Mm-hmm. Maybe it has to do with offering clemency for those who come forth first, that kind of a thing, and start that way, whatever it takes. But we have to get past the control file thing because until then, everyone in a position of power has got someone who can pull their strings or at least threaten to. And, that's just the unfortunate state of affairs.
Yeah, I guess
going on for 50
how do you get
more.
Beyond it is the key, right? How do we?
Well, that's what I'm thinking is that how did they get beyond the crimes in South Africa? At some point, you have to say, okay, we're going to hunt you down, or you can come forward, and if you come forward, we're going to be lenient, and if we hunt you down and find you, we're not going to be lenient, kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. So and by the way, if you help us, we'll be even more lenient. Maybe that would work. I don't know.
At some point, that would be.
But, at some point. Yeah, I think the sooner we get past the control file phase of the Western civilization, the better. Because then what you have is complete rule by fear and doing things you wouldn't normally do because otherwise things that you don't want will happen. That's my idealistic thing. And I actually believe that there will be a moment when people just wake up and are able to see when people are lying, or at least not being completely truthful. And that as that happens, let's say they can start seeing auras or just know somehow. And as that happens, those who try to hide things will be marginalized more and more. So I think that's what we're in the process of happening right now.
Well, I think it's always been that there are people who really are truth tellers and truth seekers and very interested in the virtuous kinds of behavior. And there are people who are sneaks and secret keepers and liars and manipulators. And both of those kinds of people are very much in power in the world.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, where do you stand on the idea that this might be a simulation?
Well,
you mean this reality that we all experience,
yeah.
this planet, this universe?
No,
exactly.
No, I'm not laughing at the idea. I have to laugh at how it sounds very similar to reincarnation.
Simulation?
Sure, yeah. Reincarnation is like game over, new player.
Well,
right?
no, simulation is what Colossus is doing. Colossus, the new supercomputer that Musk is building in Memphis, your home area down there. The biggest supercomputer on the planet.
That's right.
Is being created for simulation.
I actually don't think of Memphis as part of Tennessee, but that's just me.
Oh, okay. All right.
No.
Hey, we have another call we can add to this. Would you guys like us to add Bruce McHenry to the call here?
Yeah, add him in. He's a serious guy. He's a transportation guy.
Let's
Bruce,
wild.
right?
Hi, Bruce.
In the past.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Bruce, welcome to the show.
Bruce.
What how nice to hear
I love
from
the
you.
discussion about truth tellers being some kind of people and the fakers being the utters.
Yeah, well, some
so you've
people
got on one side
both.
of the table, you've got Elon. On the other side, you've got Humpty Dumpty Trump.
Yeah, good point, right?
Kind of curious. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. How do you feel about this unfolding?
Well, I think it's going to be a very interesting next 4 or 5 months. And then I don't know. It might be that one of them has to bow out.
Yeah, kind of like when Bolton was part of Trump's early cabinet because the oil interests figured they better keep somebody on his team who could report back to them, and then that didn't work out too well.
Well, there was the head of Exxon. Well, Trump tends to fire people pretty fast. Have you ever watched The Apprentice?
There you go. If they don't do their job, they'll be fired. Anyway, I like the idea that Trump is going to create The Apprentice with our government.
There's going to be a struggle between, whether the profit goes to the engineers or whether it goes to the usual fakers.
Yeah, government. It's all about who gets the money, right? Sorry, go ahead, Michael.
Michael, what did you say?
There must be a delay. We keep talking over you. Go ahead.
Well, that's because I'm coming at you from the future, which is so strange, Master Now talking to Dr. Future in the past.
Yes, it is.
Oh, well. I think it might have been Kennedy who mentioned this, but that Trump didn't regret Bolton at the beginning because he said even though he didn't like Bolton, everybody in the world was afraid of Bolton because he wanted to bomb everyone. So they all thought,
Really? I thought he was on the cabinet because they wanted to try and cultivate oil deals with Russia because Russia had so many undeveloped oil reserves.
No, that was the head of Exxon.
Wasn't that who Bolton was?
No.
Oh, I guess I'm as usual getting my names mixed up.
No.
Goes back to Hammer and Occidental Petroleum.
Mm-hmm.
Well, keep your enemies closer does have some value to it. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. That does have some value, so they can't sneak around too much.
Son was referring to Rex Tillerson.
Tillerson. Okay. See, it's been
he was an
4
American
years.
energy executive.
Yeah, Tillerson, really.
My memory doesn't last that long.
Yeah, no, but Bolton is close. I mean, I could see how you could confuse him with Bolton because Bolton was also a very much into, very bullish on war. Mm-hmm. But Rex is not.
Bomb them all.
Yeah. He used to say bomb, 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 bomb.
Bolton just wanted to lop off the top 3 floors of the UN. That was no small thing. Yeah, that's not a big war. That's just, 3 floors of the UN. It's what we call a surgical strike.
Well, that was then, but now they want to bring in Musk and
Ramaswamy
to take out like $1 trillion from our budget. Now, how is that even possible?
Well, because they know how wasted
I
that
actually
money
like
is.
the idea.
Yeah, there is so much graft and corruption in our current government. It's the biggest problem that we have as a country, I think.
We almost had a balanced budget amendment under Clinton. Now, would imagine if we could brought that initiative back. But first, I think we'd have to do what post-World War II Germany did, which is say 10 old dollars is worth one new dollar, and that's that.
Well, in the next 30 seconds, we're not going to be able to solve this problem, everybody, because the show is over.
Yeah, well, thanks for popping in last week. Call a little bit earlier next time. We can get more into detail. Meanwhile, great week. Thanks for calling, you guys.
All right.
Love you all. Thank you, Bobby.
Guys.
Have a great future now, everybody.
Master Now.
Thank
Enjoy
you.
the future, Master Now. We'll be there soon. Bye for now.
Oh, good night.
Good night.
All right.
It's 4 o'clock.